So I think we will start. So Shalom and thank you all for being here with us today. As we gather virtually for JNF Canada Yom HaZikaron Tour, we do so with heavy heart and a deep reverence. Today is not just a tour, it's an act of remembrance. Together, we will visit the site that bore witness to the horrors of October 7, the Gaza envelope, the Rot, Kisufim, and Nova Festival site. Places.
Shannon had tried to call me. Could you transfer her or transfer me to her?
Is it Shannon from
Please put yourself on mute.
I think it might be from the pool.
front desk?
You're on mute.
Ifat, you're muted. You're muted. Open your microphone.
Okay.
Okay.
So together we will visit the site that bore witness to the horrors of October 7, the Gaza envelope, Sderot, Kisufim, and Nova Festival site. Places where lives were stolen, family shattered, and the soul of the nation wounded. This tour is dedicated to the memory of 7 hero soldiers who made their unlimited sacrifice in the last war, and they are the followed. Major Ariel Ben Moshe, Major Ro'i Chapel, Major Ro'i Maldasi, Major Jamal Abbas, Major Nati Alfasi, Lieutenant Dekel Suissa, and Sergeant Rambatito. Each of them had a name, a family, and future. Each of them gave their lives so others may live. We carry their memory with us today. Leading us this journey is Noam Tamir, a former Israeli Air Force pilot, who will help us walk these roads with knowledge, with courage, and with compassion. May this tour deepen our understanding, strengthen our connection, and above all, honor the memory of those who have lost. Noam.
Okay, thank you, and good afternoon, everybody, from here in Israel. I'm, in addition to the fact that I was in my first career in the Israeli Air Force, pilot of CH-53, that's the big helicopters. Nowadays, I'm a tour guide, and I work a lot with the KKL-JNF, and so let's go deep inside and show you a little bit of what we have today, what it looked like in the 7th of October, and how does it look today, and which are the sites that all the new sites that were created after the war that we call the 7th of October war, and can you visit them or can't you visit them? And where all of the population or people of Israel, where they are going. You have to understand that when it all began, of course, at first we went to fight in the area over there. So people volunteered and went into the fighting over there. Then people started coming, looking for their families or for the member of the families that were disappeared or lost. I didn't know. And then the volunteers came in, the people who came to help the places that were abandoned and to help the people there, because mostly it's an area of agriculture. 60% of all the vegetables in Israel come from that area. So people came, and until today, people volunteer in the work over there. And then people start coming looking what happened there. And as things relaxed a little bit around, then began the tourist, what we call the Israeli tourism. And in the last few weeks, we also have tourists from all over the world coming. So this presentation will take us to the places and the sites where people were killed, people injured and or kidnapped. We still have 59 hostages held by the Hamas and Jihad. and to see what's going on with the communities. Now, we won't see all the places. We'll see the major places which are known or you hear about them. So first of all, let's take you a little bit back in history and take you back to the 7th of October, 629, when we were all shocked. And it all began with 4,300 rockets that were launched to all over Israel, especially on Air Force bases and on the communities of the border. You hardly hear about what happened in the army bases or mostly in the Air Force bases, but they were all attacked, and it was a very big surprise. Now, at that time, at the same time, we had the Hamas militants going to the border of the Gaza Strip, as you see here on the map, entering through almost 150 places. They opened the wall and the fences and going. And totally, if you look at what happened in the 7th and 8th of October, you understand that the blue area that you see, that the area where they came in and were all around. So you can see here that 21 communities were attacked, massacred at that time. I'm not talking about army bases, which we have lots of army bases all around here. And I'm not talking about the Nova party that you'll see that had so many people lost their life over there. So that's in general. If you look, you remember those pictures. We're talking about 6,000 people from Gaza, or not only soldiers, also civilians going in. 3,800 of them were from the Nukhba forces, and the rest were civilians who just came again and again and again to take things from the villages and to kill. Sometimes it happened that people were saved after the first few hours, but when the second wave or the third wave of the civilians came in, they killed them. If you look, we have a map. We call it the blood trail. You can see on the map, you can see the Gaza Strip, and then you can see all around. You can see the dots, the red dots, and if you collect all the people, all the red dots, you can understand how many people were killed at that time. I'm talking about soldiers and, of course, civilians. In total, we are talking about on that day and further on, we're talking about 1,175. Like about 1/3 of them were soldiers or security forces, and 2/3 were civilians. Civilians, we also count the foreigners, the workers who come to work at the kibbutzes and the moshav. As you can see, 26% were females that were killed, and 3,400 people, including soldiers, were wounded. And 247 soldiers and civilians were taken hostage. And like we said before, we still have 59. We presume that around 24 of them are still alive. So when we go a little bit deeper into the places that we want to talk about the tour, we'll see the places of death and heroism all around the Gaza envelope. And you can see most of the area is quite flat, and way far, what you see is, of course, the buildings of Gaza and Rafiah and the other villages. So when we talk about those places, I'll go from north to south, mention about 10 of them. And we'll start with the one in the north, the name is Nativ HaAsara, which means the path of the 10. It's named after 10 soldiers that were killed in a helicopter that crashed into the water. And this place, Nativ HaAsara, is a moshav. And you can see we have the number of people killed over there. And you can see that it resides very close, about 100 meters from the border with the Gaza Strip. And it's a very famous place because we'll see in the slides that probably if you've been to Israel, you probably visited Nativ HaAsara. So Nativ HaAsara is a moshav. It's a semi-collective agriculture community. And you can see that at the end of the moshav, it's what we call the iron wall that was built in which a huge investment of money that was supposed to protect the people who live in Netiv Asara from being shot or being fired. And the most famous place in Netiv Asara, it's the home of the Path of Peace, which is a mosaic that people come and just stick it on the wall. And we have several walls that we did. And prior to the war, almost every group we brought to the Gaza envelope, we took them over there and we created the signs. Okay, and you can see how close it is to the border. This did not help Netiv Asara because here, this is an aerial photo of all the Moshav. And you can see that more than half of the Moshav was taken by tens of Hamas terrorists who came into some of them parachuted to the village, some of them came by foot, some of them came by cars. There was a big, not a big, but there was army in the Moshav, so there were fights all over. Although 17 people of the Moshav were killed, but most of them survived and were evacuated later on. This is how a place that was under fire after there was a gunshot between the Hamas and the local people who had guns and also the army. And you can see a lot of damage. Now, the people do not live in the village, of course. The community is right now located next to Ashkelon. But people return to work in the fields. People return to work in the agriculture. Here you can see just 1 year ago, we had the Memorial Day here. So you can see all the people of the Moshav came together with the army to memorize those that were killed. Now, the community, like it's written here, the community is trying to recover and doing a lot of activities, talking about building it up again, because they say we have to live all over Israel and we have to return to our homes. We just need the army to give us the security needed. You can see the place is very close to the border, and we still a lot of people are very interested to come to see the trail, the Path of Peace, and you can visit Netiv Asara, although you have to organize it, because right now the village is closed, the Moshav is closed, guarded by the army, but people who live, they can have visitors. So we have some of the locals organized. You can phone them, you can schedule, and you can visit the place. One of the rules of visiting places which are not, people do not live in it, that you must come with a local, okay? That's one of the rules we have, because only the locals, they know what to emphasize, what to tell. And for example, as a tour guide, I cannot go into Netiv Asara without being accompanied by someone who's local. So that's Netiv Asara. Let's talk about Sderot. Sderot, as you know, is a city located only 2 kilometers from the border of Gaza, suffered a lot through all the years from the Qassam missiles and everything that was ongoing. In every occasion, we had the conflict with the Gaza Strip. 52 people were killed in Sderot, most of them, by the way, soldiers and policemen. As you know, Sderot is the largest community in the envelope with 33,000 people. Now, Sderot is a place that keeps on living. You'll be amazed, but more and more families are joining. In the last year and a little bit more, people are joining and coming to live in Sderot because they say, we have to come back and by the border. Sderot came under a heavy attack. The stores, if you remember the pictures of the terrorists driving, like the picture you have here, driving in with the Toyota pickups and shooting everything they saw. even killed 15 people who were just gathering to go into a tour to the Dead Sea and just hid in a shelter. The most famous place that was attacked in Sderot is, of course, the police station. And you can see here, this is the police station burning. We have like 30 Hamas terrorists went into the station, took all of it, killed most of the policemen that were there. Of course, they had their tons of ammunition and guns and everything. And the fight took about 24 hours until we managed to take it back. Basically, we didn't take it back. We just steered it down, where we bombed it and with bulldozers, we just took it down. And as you can see, 30 officers were killed during the 24 hours of the gunshot. This is what was left after the end of the fighting, and they decided to just take it down. And instead of it, we have what we call Garden of Heroism and Memory. And you can see the pillars. We have the number of the pillars is the number of the policemen and the army men that were killed. And today it's one of the major places that we come to visit when we are traveling, and we want to see what happened in the Gaza envelope. So this is one of the major places to visit, and the garden around has the names of all the policemen and soldiers that were killed. And in addition to that, you can see the building behind with the drawing, okay, of Sderot reviving up after the attack. At the back, we have what we call the Bet Rishonim, the house of the first people who came to live in Sderot in the 1950s. And in this place, it was arranged to have groups. And over there, we get a lecture from one of the locals and a movie that describes or tells the story of the battle over the police station. Now, the garden itself is open all time, and but the story of the battle and the film in Bet Rishonim, you can come and see it during the weekdays. It's closed on the Saturday. So again, this is one of the most important sites to visit when you go to the Gaza envelope. Another place that you visit while you're in Sderot, you climb up a small hill, which is a lookout that you can look to the west and see the north of Gaza. Also, the lookout tells a story of a battle that was here, but not in this war, but in an earlier war. But when you stand on the hill, you can see, you can of course see all of the city of Sderot. That's what you see. You're looking now to the east from the lookout, from Mitzpe Kobi. And if you look to the west, of course, you have the story of the people that the hill tells the story of their battle, which was in 2016. But also you can see quite closely the north of Gaza. If I just enlarge the picture for you, because that's what you see with your eyes from over there. The picture doesn't tell the story good enough. So that's what you see. You also have a telescope. You can see the guy over there on the right, look through the telescope, and you can see what's ongoing. When war is, usually when the war is active, we have here a lot of TV crews who come and stand on the hill, because this is one of the best locations, which is safe enough to look over what's going on in Gaza. So most of the picture you see Gaza being bombed or what's going on in Gaza, the TV crews are located over there. The next place, it's quite a sad story. It's the kibbutz Kfar Aza. Kfar Aza is a kibbutz that is just less than a kilometer from the Gaza Strip. And we used to go with groups and visit Kfar Aza. Every time we had a group from coming from KKJNF, we used to visit Kfar Aza because two reasons. First is to get to meet the mayor of the municipality of this area who used to live over there, and he was killed on the first minutes of the attack. And also because there was a very a very good lookout, but you can see from a few hundreds of meters what's going on in Gaza. So this kibbutz was attacked on the first morning. Here you can see this is again part of what now we know what happened in each house, and the picture tells us exactly what happened. If you can see where you see the red dots, this is where people were killed, and the yellow dots is where people were kidnapped for. So you can see that most of the kidnaps were from the north neighborhood, the young people neighborhood, which is in the north of the kibbutz. And as you can see, the center of the kibbutz, there was a few policemen who managed to get in between the first and the second wave of the attack. So there were fighting going over there, but most of the kibbutz were taken by the Hamas. And that's why you see, and a lot of the dots that you see, the gray dots is where there was ongoing fighting between the locals and the police against the Hamas Nukhba who were in the kibbutz. This is how the kibbutz looks today. There was no work done so far in the kibbutz to change things. And here you can see now, this is a picture from a few days after the end of the battle over there, and you can see the cameraman going on. This is how it looks. This is, by the way, the north neighborhood, the neighborhood of the young people. This is how it looks more today. This picture was taken by me around January when I visited there. So we still had a lot of hostages. We still have some of those hostages. You have the names over there. So hostages, not only from Kfar Aza, for more. So if you're talking about 750 kibbutz members, 62 were murdered, and 18 were kidnapped and taken to the Gaza Strip. One of the houses, which is very unique, is a place where those two young people, Sivan and Naor, lived, and their family decided to turn Sivan's house into a memorial site. So when you come, you can see the cameraman in the picture down below. You enter the small house, and you can hear music, and you can hear Sivan talking. You can hear Naor talking, and you can hear also what they wrote on their WhatsApp when they were texting and saying that they are under attack and everything, and you can see what happened inside. Now, the family decided to make it as a museum. We hope this will stay even after when they will decide what to do with the rebuilding of the kibbutz, because for the family, it's very important to show what happened and what the hell they went through. And this small sofa that you see over here, this is where one of them was murdered, okay? Because it's written in Hebrew that they found pieces of them on it. So this is like a standing museum when you visit Kfar Aza. Now the people of Kfar Aza, who are not in Kfar Aza, they say we must rebuild Kfar Aza because there is no place like home. And second, you know, in Israel, every place you go, you know that if you don't stand on the border, it will come to your house, okay? So that's why it's so important. Visiting in Kfar Aza is only if you have an organized visit. It's very complicated to organize, especially in Kfar Aza. The people there are, they don't like to talk a lot about what happened, so it's more complicated. So what they did in between is, because they know that a lot of people want to come and to commemorate the people of Kfar Aza, they made something outside of Kfar Aza, quite close to the entrance, and that's a place that you can visit. You have there a lot of information about what happened in Kfar Aza and other places, and also you have a good look of Kfar Aza, although from that point you don't see the burnt house and everything, but you can respect the people of Kfar Aza. Kfar Aza people today, they want to return, but in the meanwhile, they decided to live in Kibbutz Ruchama. Kibbutz Ruchama is not far from there. It's about 20 kilometers, a little bit to the east. And as you can see, the KKL JNF is helping them to, or help them to build that neighborhood, which it's a temporary neighborhood that they live. And of course, from here, they are planning what to do and how to return and how to rebuild for Gaza. Of course, this will take a long time. So in the meantime, they have a place to live. They can send the children to school. They still come to the Kfar Aza to work at the fields, but they don't live there. The next place I want to talk about is kibbutz and army base of Nahal Oz, because they are connected quite together. These two places cannot be visited because it's too close to the border, but we have a memorial place because in the base, the military base of Nahal Oz, we have the famous story of all the girls who were guarding the border, reporting about what's going on to the border. And there is a monument that the families built. We'll show you this monument. Okay, so first of all, you can see that the Nahal Oz kibbutz and the military base are quite close one to each other, about 200 meters one from each other, and they are very close to the border, quite close to the fence between Israel and the Gaza Strip. And you can see that in the kibbutz, the people who had guns in the kibbutz, there was a big fight, although there were not a lot of people guarding, but there was a big fight over here. Most of the Hamas was working on the base. So here we have 13 that were killed and 8 that were kidnapped. Okay, so it's not a big kibbutz in total. And you can see that places that fights were ongoing, you can see everything is burned all around. The base itself, which is a little bit in the north, as you can see, was under a heavy attack of tens of Hamas terrorists. And in that base, 53 soldiers were killed and 10 were kidnapped. Okay, and well, some of what went after the war itself, that people felt that they come and build memorial places for people they lost. And here, the one who organized all together were the parents and the families of the women watchmen. So that's why it's called the Women Watchman Monument. It was built on the grounds that belonged to Kakal. It used to be, the hill was part of a water reservoir that was very close to Nahal Oz. And they built this temporary place, which is now getting more and more into a regular place that we come and to visit. Okay, so if you look closely, you can see you climb on the hill. Of course, you can see from them the city of Gaza. You have all the names of those women soldiers that were murdered. And from here, when you stand on the hill, of course, you see a lot of people come and put candles and so on. You can see Gaza, and you can also see the base itself. Okay, here you can see that's the kibbutz, and of course, to the right side, we have the army base. So this is the closest place that the army lets the families come in and see the place. So it's a very important place that we visit, although lately, since there is no ceasefire between the Hamas and Israel, we are not allowed to climb on the hill. It's not safe because it's very close to the border and you can be shot. So, but when ceasefire is on, we can visit the place, okay? The people of Nahal Oz, the people of the kibbutz, they moved all the way to the north, to a kibbutz in the Mishmar HaEmek, which is in the Jezreel Valley. And as you can see, they have new houses there, and the community is trying to get back on the feet over there. The next place I want to talk to you is one of the largest kibbutz that we have in the Gaza envelope. It's called Kibbutz Be'eri, which there were more than 1,000 people living over there. And this was also one of the first places that was attacked. 100 people of the kibbutz members were killed, 30 were kidnapped. You probably know Kibbutz Be'eri because during February and during January and February, we have there the festival, the Red Festival, okay, that we go and see these beautiful flowers, which is called anemone, I remember, and it's a beautiful place to visit, and the anemone is still growing, and we even had it this year, but the people of Be'eri do not live in the kibbutz. This is the kibbutz. As you can see, all of the kibbutz was taken by the Hamas terrorists who came in a few waves and murdered 101 people and kidnapped 30. There was a big hassle between the Israeli army and the Hamas from house to house. And as you can see, a lot of places were burned down. Now, I want to tell you, okay, this is one of the neighborhoods that was attacked. And also you can see here what happened in the houses and how things were burned. And you have to remember that after the Hamas terrorists who came, there were the civilians coming in, and a lot of people were killed when the Hamas civilians, they are not really civilians, are also people of Gaza, they are terrorists like the Hamas, okay? And this is how it looks. But there is also an optimistic story about Be'eri. In Be'eri, we have one of the main things that they do in Be'eri. They have a large facility which is called Be'eri printers. The printing house specializes in printing while using the advanced technology. They print a lot of documentation that is used all around the country. We're talking about printing credit cards and checkbooks and vouchers and driver license. So what happened that the country cannot stop without having the Be'eri printers. So what happened that 10 days after the first day of the attack, a lot of volunteers came to help the factory and get back on the feet and start working. So even war was ongoing around, the factory started working. Here you can see this is what goes inside. Today, some of the workers came back and still working with a lot of volunteers and also new hired people. And a good friend of mine, the one who holds the flag over here, and another one next to him, they both volunteered from that day for about 3 or 4 months to work. And when they stopped volunteering because new people came, we made a tour and we visited the place. We visited Be'eri in order to see what happened over there. So it's quite shocking when you travel in Be'eri, but luckily the Be'eri printers, that's a nice story. They returned to work and working until today. The new community of Be'eri is located today in Kibbutz Hatzerim, which is next to the Air Force Base Hatzerim. As you know, Hatzerim is a very big kibbutz, one of the richest kibbutz in Israel. It has the factory of Netafim, you know. So they volunteer to take Be'eri with them because Be'eri, as we said, is a very big kibbutz. So you can see the large number of houses that we have here. And the two communities are working together in order to prepare to see what they will do and how they will return to Be'eri. The next place we want to visit is also a must place to go and visit. This is the central place that we memorize what happened in the 7th of October. And that's in Re'im Forest. It's where took place the Nova Festival. Not a lot of people know, but the Nova Festival was one of 3 parties that took place in that area. Of course, Nova was the biggest of them all, but there were 2 more parties around in that time. And the Nova Festival, here you can see a picture from the festival itself. And here you can see how how the Nova Festival looked like on the morning after, or let's say on the day after, on the afternoon. Now you can see it's a forest, and the forest belongs to the KKLGNF. So when they decided to make the party, of course, they went and talked with the KKLGNF, who helped them and supported them in organizing it. Today, the KKLGNF is responsible of the site itself. Here you can see where the fighting took on. Now you have to remember that the fighting was not in the first minutes, only when the Hamas terrorists, who, by the way, were on their way to another place, they just found out that there is a great amount of people and cars over there, and so they attacked it all. And you can see that what happened here, we had 384 people killed here, and tens of people been taken as hostages and taken to the Gaza Strip. Most of the collision was next to the main road where people were trying to escape. Unluckily for them, they thought if they get north, they will get saved. But what happened that the terrorists were coming from the north. So people who ran out to the south, they got lucky. Like my nephew, who he was over there, and he just had a car and he drove to the south. So he was safe. Today, as being the central place where people come to memorize what happened, today it's an organized place. It was built and organized by the KKLGNF. It took a long time to make it because there were 3 organizations that were of the parents and the families. So you had to gather them all and get to the understanding, and we did not want to hurt the feeling of anyone. So it took a lot of time, but today it's a very organized place. You have to understand that the KKLGNF counts the number of people coming to visit only this site. And we are talking about between 3,000 to 5,000 people daily coming to the site. And I'm talking about weekdays and also in the weekends. This site is open 24 hours a day. The site, as you can see, lots of groups come here and tell the stories of the people that were here, the stories of the young people who came to have a good time and died over there. When you come to the site, this is what you see on the site, okay? You can see these plastic anemones all around. They are blue, but they turn into black. There is a big project being held to memorize the people, and at first people used to put the pictures of their beloved, temporary pictures, but now we're trying to change it. There is a man who conducts a project to make it, the signs will be quite similar, but they will give also information about those who were killed here. So it's a very big project, and the place itself is quite big. You need about an hour to travel all around and to see all the places that are in this site. This site is also going to be the main site of the memory because we are going to move some of the places which are temporary, like we'll see in a few minutes, the site of the wrecked cars or the burnt cars. This will also be moved from the temporary site into this place. Here is an example of a sign, and you can see the parents of Bar Zohar, and together with the family, those who conduct making the signs, they select together the pictures and also decide what to write on the sign. It's a very, very hard work and takes time. And you know, there are a lot of feelings inside, so you must do it very precise. It takes time. Here is an example of something that was done. Is putting the pictures of all the people that were killed, and it's both those who came to enjoy their time and policemen and soldiers who all died in this site. On the left here, we have a picture of Amir Khodorov. Amir Khodorov, he was a colonel in the Israeli Air Force. He was my commander for 2 years. He came with his money and his will. He's a very famous photographer in Israel, and this project is managed by Amir Khodorov, who gets in contact with all the families, and he and his staff, they are all volunteers. He's doing it all with his private money, and he's making those signs, and he's doing it every day. That's his work right now. For more than a year, that's what he's doing in order to make it to be a proper place and to take it to a higher level of being a place that we remember all those people. In addition to that, as the area belongs to KKJNF, the KKJNF together with the families are planting trees all around. Some of the trees in the area were burned and some of them were damaged. So we are planting new trees all around. Of course, those who come to plant are the families of those who were in the Nova party. And this site, like I said, this is the main site. This is a must site, and it's always open. Now, we talked about the cars that were all along the roads, and we have a site called the Tkuma car site. Tkuma is the name of the village next to it. As I said before, it's a temporary site, but it's still a place that everybody goes to see because it gives you a feeling and understanding what happened on those days. Again, we are returning to this picture where the terrorists were going and just shooting the people in the cars. Then the cars were all taken from over there, towed into one big yard in Tkuma. Also cars from the villages and the kibbutzes and the moshav from everywhere. All the cars were taken. And today we have a site. This is an organized site. Groups come here, private people come here. And you see we piled up, most of the cars are piled up together, but some of the cars were taken to an exhibition. And when you reach the car, you have explanation. You can use your phone to get digital or explanation, or some volunteers stand here and explain about what happened. So it's quite a big site, quite organized. We have thousands of cars over there. Some of the cars we have are the terrorist cars, like you see this Toyota that we have that was equipped with a machine gun and so on. So this is part of the exhibition also. Very, very, this is a place that you go in, you have tears in your eyes because you understand that most of those cars had people in it. Now, from time to time, because we have each car that you see over here, we have, of course, the license number, and we know where we took it from. So even months after the war began, there were coming people to try to identify if there is still, we had missing persons. So some of the cars were inspected to see if we still have something from those missing persons. We went to a lot of investigation. We even used the archaeologists to try to find anything that was left, even in the cars or around the places where we found the cars. If you reach a car like that, you can see, you can use your phone and get the information about what happened, who was in that car, and the families, of course, put the pictures and put some signs that tell the stories of those people. So again, this is a place that it's a temporary place right now, and it's going to move to the Nova site. Here, you can see piles of cars, okay? All of them were brought from all around the area. This site is opened except of Saturday because Tkuma Moshav is a religious Moshav, so it's not open. The site is not open on Saturday. Next place we're going to talk about is Kisufim. Kisufim is a kibbutz next to the border. You probably heard about this kibbutz and you know it. Kisufim also had an army base next to it. So when the Hamas terrorists were coming in, they were mainly concentrated in the army base. Kisufim is not a big kibbutz. It's quite a small one. And it was a beautiful kibbutz. I used to visit there for a few times. Even 2 movies were made about the people of the kibbutz, very famous movies in the history of Israel. And this is how the kibbutz looks after the attack, okay? Burned houses and people that were shot and so on. The kibbutz, of course, is empty. We have only soldiers and security people in there. And you can see a lot of the kibbutz is burned. But if you look at something optimistic, you see the soldiers over there, last Hanukkah, lighting the candles and showing that the Israeli presence is over there. Kibbutz Kisufim right now resides next to Omer. Omer is community, a very big community, a little bit northeast of Be'er Sheva. And the community of Omer decided to take care of the people of Kisufim, and this is the neighborhood that was built for them. And here you can see the people of Kisufim celebrating, okay, they meet together, okay, and they say Kibbutz Kisufim is now building the future. Of course, the KKL-JNF is involved in all of the places we saw that are trying to recover, and Kibbutz Kisufim is one of them. I think you in Canada are also involved in that. The next kibbutz is maybe one of the famous, not in the good manner, but this kibbutz was taken by the Hamas terrorists for 8 hours. No soldier was there for 8 hours. And this kibbutz, which is also not a big kibbutz, 69 people were killed and 76 were kidnapped. We have a number that says if the kibbutz was a little bit around a little bit more than 400 members in the kibbutz, or people who lived in the kibbutz, around 1/4 of the kibbutz people got killed or kidnapped, while the others managed to survive. And I'll show you how close it is between living and surviving and or getting killed or being taken as a hostage. So Nir Oz, it's a community not far from the border. This tree is in the kibbutz, and from it you can see the Gaza Strip, okay? Here, I enlarged the picture. You can see closer. You can see the houses. You can see how close it is, just a few hundred meters from the border. The kibbutz itself, you see, was all taken. And you can see here the number of kidnapped people. 76 people were kidnapped, mostly from the center and the north of the kibbutz. And here also we had the famous stories that we'll talk about in a minute or two. So during the masquerade, about a quarter of the kibbutz residents were murdered or kidnapped to Gaza. And when you visit in the area of the Gaza envelope, this is the hardest visit to do. I did it a few times with groups, and it takes about between 2 to 3 hours. You go around the kibbutz with one of the members, and he just passes each house and tells you the story of what happened in each house. And at the end, they reach, of course, the famous stories. Just to show you what happened in the kibbutz from 6/29, 20 minutes later came the first terrorists. There were about 125 of them, and the number became bigger and bigger to about 300 to 400 terrorists. And the army came only after the last terrorists had left. So you can see that the red line, the blue line, which shows you how many security forces were there, it was the 10 people who had guns in the kibbutz, and they fought as much as they can. So this describes you that nobody was there. Nobody was there. Now, this is a group I brought to visit the kibbutz. This is a group of Israel Air Force veterans who came to see and to pay respect to the people of Nir Oz. We traveled through all of the houses. We saw each house. And one of the things you see that life stopped in a minute. The houses are burned, but outside in the yards, everything it's like stopped in a minute. One of the things they did in the kibbutz, they put flags. When you have a black flag, it means somebody was killed. When you have a yellow flag, it means somebody was kidnapped from that place. So for example, here on the left picture, you can see 4 people were kidnapped from that place. And I can give you a hint. That's the Bibas family that was kidnapped from here. On the houses itself, you have pictures of, for example, this is Hannah Katzir on the left picture. She was kidnapped and taken back, but the man who lived with them, her husband, Avraham Katzir, he was murdered. Okay. So, and the sign said 1 out of 4, 1 out of 4. On the right, what you can see, what they wrote in the house, it's when they came to clear the house after the end of the battle. They have to see that there is no ammunition and no explosives in the house. This is the difference between life and death in Nir Oz, and not only in Nir Oz. You see this small thing that you have on the door. You have the shelter where you go with all your family inside, you close the door. Now, if you close this bar, this is the difference between life and death. In most of the houses where they had these small bars, they were able to survive. The only families that didn't survive is families that all of the house was burning and they had to jump out from the window. Some of them were killed while they jumped out. So this is the difference between life and death. And you can see here, this is a shelter that didn't have this small bar, and of course it was all burned and people died here. This is, for example, I took those pictures in January when we visited. So Ofer Calderon, who returned just 2 months ago, as you can see here, his children returned, but he was kidnapped. So, and he was not the only one that kidnapped from over there. And you can see the flags, 2 flags. There were 3 flags. 3 people were kidnapped. 2 already returned, but Ofer did not return on that time when I took the picture. And now Ofer is already back with us. And of course, the famous story of the Bibas family, the mother and the 2 children that were brutally murdered in Gaza, while Yarden Bibas has returned. At the beginning of of what was going, Yarden had the gun, so he asked Shiri, "Will I go out and fight?" And she said yes. So at that time, he lost connection with the family, and that's the last time they saw him. And again, you can see this is the Bibas family house. This is a place where we come. Nobody can hold his tears when you see this house and the story of the Bibas family. This is the dining room. Picture, a very symbolic picture of a gunshot into the dining room. In the dining room itself, we have the chairs with all the people that they are waiting to come back. What's going to happen to Nir Oz? So the members of Nir Oz who nowadays live in Kiryat Gat, they have plans. And you can see here on the left picture, you can see that's the plan for the new Nir Oz. They are still arguing about how they want the new Nir Oz, but they are contributing money and they have plans to reorganize Nir Oz. So that's the optimistic side of Nir Oz. And again, today the people, the community of Nir Oz lives in Kiryat Gat. There was a neighborhood that was just finished, not being people not yet came to live in it, so it was taken. And today they live in a community in those houses. They feel they want to live in apartment houses so they can be one close to each other. Next place I want to talk about is the shields at the bus stops along the roads, the road 232. About 90 people were killed in those shields, and 5 were kidnapped. And this is the story about, we're talking about the shields, we're talking that next to every bus stop in the Gaza envelope, we have a shield. It's a protected place. It's open. Okay, there is no door, and people just run in when there is a bombing or missile attack. So people just run in and hide, and that's what happened. That people from mainly from the Nova party, but also people that were driving with the cars along the road, they went and hid in those shelters. And this is the most famous of the shelters. Okay, look at the birds that you have the pictures, the drawing of the birds on the shelters. And this is a very famous picture of a terrorist shooting inside. Okay, now inside this shelter, there was a guy. His name was Aner Eliakim Shapira. He was a soldier, but he was not on duty on that time. He was in the Nova party. And what he was doing, they were throwing hand grenades inside. He was throwing them back. But after 8 grenades, he threw back. He got injured, and somebody else was trying to throw the rest. Of course, it didn't help them at the end, and most of them were killed, and one of the guys was kidnapped. Okay. Nowadays, when you visit those places, you have you see those stickers that the families put that tell the stories of their beloved ones that died. The shelters inside, of course, a lot of written down inside. So you go inside, and it's all a place that we memorize all the people who tried to save their lives over there. All those places are painted. By the way, the painting project was done by groups that mainly came people from organized by the KKLJNF from the world and also from Israel. And this was a project the years before the war took place. So this is those places, and it's always open, and you can always stop and get into the place and see the place. So when you visit the Gaza envelope area, in total, what we talk about is this is the must places: the Rot, the Tkuma Karyad, and the Nova. Of course, there are 3 famous places more to go. Is the observation in Sderot, also the observation that is overlooking in Nahal Oz for the women who served over there, and the shields that you have all over the road that you can visit. Of course, there are more places you can visit, but some of them you have to organize it. Okay, you have to schedule. And I'm talking especially about Netiv Hazara, Kfar Aza, Be'eri, and Nir Oz. And there are places that you can visit without coordination, like Fakim or Yated or some other places. Okay, so that was the virtual tour of the Gaza envelope area, and now I'm ready to answer your questions. If you want, I'll stop the sharing. Now it's your time.
Any question for Noam?
You have to unmute yourself if you want to ask.
I have a question. Can you hear me?
Yes.
Yes, my question is, you mentioned earlier that there's on certain days many hundreds of people visiting. Is there any formal way to assure oneself of being able to visit the place that's not too particularly crowded on any one day or other?
No, places are organized they have the capacity to, I'm talking about the major places. They have the capacity of having a lot of people at the same time. In Sderot or Nova or the place where you can see the cars. Of course, groups, I can tell you a hint, between 12 o'clock to 2 o'clock they go to eat, so less people on that time. Or if you come more early or towards the afternoon. But the important places is no problem to come. The only problem is on the roads, okay? Maybe heavy traffic, but they are making new roads they enlarge the roads right now.
Thank you very much. I recognize what a burden and a privilege this must be for you. So thank you for doing this.
I can tell you, for me, it's a very important privilege because telling the story is the most important thing about the Gaza envelope. That's why when we go into the kibbutzes that were badly attacked, they insist that the local people will guide, because they want to have the full and the true story. Okay, because tour guides, sometimes we change the stories a little bit. So they emphasize that, and for me, again, it's a privilege to tell you the story or tell you about those sites.
Yeah, one more thing, if I can. What's the sentiment as far as you see for the locals having so many visitors coming in? Is it getting difficult? Is it getting tedious for them? How can you generalize?
Yes, in some places, yes. In Be'eri, they stopped almost all visits. They feel they don't want people peeking into their houses. In Nir Oz, completely the opposite. In Sderot, the community wants people to come and to see, and they encourage people, the locals, to come and to speak to the visitors. Okay, so it changes. It differs from place to place.
Okay. Thank you.
Any other questions? Okay.
I have
So,
a question.
yes.
Yes.
What percentage of the people who lived in the Gaza envelope plan on returning versus plan on staying wherever they are?
I don't know there is nobody counted the number, but we are talking about around 50% they want to return definitely. And I think about 20 or 25% they want, but they have fears. And of course, there is a large number of people who do not want to return at all, because they don't feel secure enough. They don't feel that the government gives them enough security about what's going to be with the Gaza. Now, I can tell you that even me, that I live just 1 kilometer from the West Bank, we also have the fears, because we say this could happen also in our place. So you're talking about people from all of the country, not all of them, the Gaza envelope.
Thank you, Noam. Today, we walk through the landscape of tragedies, the Sderot, Kisufim, and Nova Festival grounded, places forever marked by grief, but also by courage, resilience, and unity. We remember the lives that were taken too soon. We honor the soldier who fell defending our people. Major Ariel Ben Moshe, Major Ro'i Chapel, Major Ro'i Maldasi, Major Jamal Abbas, Major Nati Alfasi, Lieutenant Dekel Suissa, and Sergeant Ram Batito. As we leave this virtual space, may we carry with us not only sorrow, but strength. May we turn remembrance into responsibility to stand for Israel, to protect each other, and to honor the fallen through how we live. Yeh zichronam baruch. May their memory be a blessing. And as we remember the fallen, we must also turn our eyes and our praise through the 59 hostages still held in Gaza. Thank you, everyone, for joining us, and thank you, Noam, for really inspiring presentation.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.